Welcome to another book-inspired video here on Guru Grit. I hope that you find this helpful, as I hope with everything that I do that you find it helpful and useful to you. So if you don't know, on TikTok, I put out a call for people to tell me, if they want an Edgar Cayce inspired remedy for whatever it is that's ailing them. I would do the research and dig through these two books. So we've got the Edgar Cayce remedy and the Handbook for Health Through Drugless Therapy. So essentially, the people who wrote these are physicians who have gone through Edgar Cayce's channelings looking for questions related to whatever problem and then, compile them into these books. Now, I've also had to do some research through the Edgar Cayce site and catalogs myself because I found some things were lacking or they weren't very clear. And also, finally, the language of these is somehow so old that I found myself laughing or trying to interpret what it meant. So, I worked pretty hard on this. I did this one last night. This one's a very popular topic. So acne was a really, really big request. And I've also got one ready to film as well. Hair loss, balding, and grayness. And this one's really important because it actually affects like 1/3 of women. So I suppose the stress and the lifestyle that we live in the modern age and the food that we consume is also causing hair problems for women now. So it's not simply just like a male thing. And I've had that requested. I've had so many other things we'll get to at the end of the video, but let's crack into it. So I've gone through the books and I've pulled out the remedies. I have tried to pick out the ones that are most doable, and I'll give you a few tips for myself that's worked for me. If you don't know, I have been really into, spiritual paths since I was a teenager, and so natural healing and things of that nature I've been doing my whole entire life since I can remember. So I've tried so many things. So I've just picked out like 3 things that it's just easy to do and it should generally be able to benefit you. Okay. Let's get into it. So in terms of acne, how can you have clearer skin? What does Edgar Cayce say about acne? In terms of acne, he says that it is connected to insufficient elimination in the body. So not going to the bathroom regularly, there's an issue with excretion, sometimes even urination. Okay, so basically he talks quite a bit about the intestines, and in one of these books the doctor himself recommends a compound that you can drink, which involves Rochelle salts, sulfur, and something else that you mix in a pestle and mortar. I've got one up there, and you consume some with water for like a few days running, then you take a week off and do it. And the reason is he believes that, or according to Edgar Cayce in the channelings, it's the thinning of the intestinal wall. So the lining thins out, and then as your poop sits there, it reabsorbs into the bloodstream and you can't sufficiently filter it, so you get breakouts in the skin. So naturally then he recommends things like adequate exercise, but gentle. There's a whole section on just the importance of walking. Enemas, colonics if you can do them. And castor oil is really, really important. So he's going to mention a lot. There's an entire chapter dedicated to castor oil packs. They're very, very, this is castor oil, very, very important. So I've been doing them for about 10 years on my liver. You can, you could drink castor oil as a laxative. If you don't drink the oil, it actually comes, I was at the health food store today for you guys, checking out what I could find. And you can get it in capsule form now. And even for like abdominal cramps during your period. So castor oil has a whole host of uses. We'll go over a video how to actually make a castor oil pack. So in any case, elimination, that's the first thing he mentions. Now, so here it says, eat apples, clean house internally. This is quite important because he does give an apple cleanse. He gives an apple cleanse diet in the book, but I didn't mention it here only because it would eat up so much time, but effectively you get the idea. And also there was some contradictory things, whereas one book said to eat apples according to Edgar Cayce, but a doctor in a separate book has said that he never recommends that his patients eat the following fruits raw: apples, strawberries, and bananas. And I thought, well, I'm finished, because it's like 3 out of 5 things that I love eating raw. To that I would add raspberries and watermelon, but I thought, oh my goodness, I eat them literally every day. So I mean, basically internal cleansing. Okay, so being gentle on your system, like stews, soups. I've also copied out the dietary recommendations here. I've only left out a couple of them because they were just not very clear, or I think they were kind of outdated, perhaps. He did mention eating seafood is fine, but other places says seafood is quite acidic. And then for meats, lean beef occasionally is okay, but he doesn't recommend poultry. Okay, so I'll get to that in a minute. So acne is a problem of elimination, as we've mentioned. So he gives a host of remedies, but he says, failing the enemas, failing the natural laxatives like castor oil, roughage. You can even get, I saw this today, I was looking for apple cider vinegar capsules, and now they have apple skins that have been like dehydrated and put into ground up and put into capsule form. So that's supposed to be full of roughage, full of fibers. That could be quite helpful. He says if everything else fails, including this, which I've put on the bottom because this is clearly from 1931, he recommends, I kid you not, getting into the bath once a week, taking a bath so you open all your pores. So if you have like back knee or your chest is going down your arms, whatever, when you get out, you take 100% pure peanut oil. So naturally, I don't recommend if you have a peanut allergy or nut allergy. And then just slathering your body in peanut oil. It's supposed to get rid of bad skin, especially this is especially, I think, a remedy for blackheads in particular. And yeah, it's supposed to be very, very effective. So that's supposed to be done only once a week if you want to do that. But in terms of nuts, he says eating almonds is extremely beneficial for human beings. So, I mean, please use logic. If you have a nut allergy, I'm not speaking to you. But okay, so he said, failing all of that, go to your doctor to have your thyroid checked. If there's a trifecta of Edgar Cayce health remedies, it's going to be castor oil packs, enemas, and thyroid health. He cannot overemphasize the importance of having your body balanced, okay, through your thyroid, your adrenals, your hormonal balance, everything. So thyroid, he says, go to the doctor to check your thyroid. And this is why. He recommends taking atomidine. Atomidine is atomic iodine. So, I mean, he says to only take it under the supervision of a physician. And so basically it's iodine. Iodine, which I went to get today, here it is, my little baggie, as you know, is a kelp extract. So fresh kelp, as you can see, okay? This one is 80, there we go, 80, you see that, micrograms. And so it's iodine. It's very, very helpful. Now, in the thing, he says literally to take like 1 drop with food. And I thought, I used to take iodine all the time. I have a underactive thyroid. It's hypoactive. And so I thought, that can't be right. So when I got this bottle, you have to check the concentration. So when you're at the health food store, get somebody to help you make sure the concentration. If it's high concentration, even on the bottle, this one says literally 1 drop. 1 drop, a little bit of water with every meal, okay? So you take it. Now, the importance that he also mentions in terms of the iodine is to be very mindful of when you're taking it, because it's also used to treat an overactive thyroid. So hyper or hypoactive thyroid, okay? Hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism are equally benefited by kelp / iodine. So in this case, he stresses in the channelings and in the books, these doctors say, you have to stick to the required dosage, because if you overdo it, you can throw the thyroid off. So now it will start working too hard, or it will sort of get it to become sluggish. You will psych it out. So you have to stick to the appropriate dosage. And I only really stress this because I had a friend in high school who went on Accutane, and the dosage for Accutane, I mean, this is a long time ago, but it was like 20 years ago, but it was 1 pill one day, the next day 2, and then 1. So it was 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. And one day we were in her kitchen and I said, how come you take so many of those? She says, well, I want my skin to clear up. So I've just been taking 2 a day every day. I'm like, you're really going through them. Her mother was a nursing student at this time, and she came in the kitchen. When she heard this, she went absolutely ballistic. So if you know anything about Accutane and what it does to your liver, it's not a joke. So just like, I know you know, but just respect what it tells you, Kate. If it tells you take 1 drop, just take 1 drop. And so he's quite cautious about this. If you do manage to get your hands on atomidine, don't mess with the dosage, and make sure you go to the doctor, get your blood work done, okay? So check your thyroid properly. Okay, so it says here, only to be taken under the supervision of a physician. Completely agree. Okay. And again, the iodine supplement is stressed for thyroid health. Other things are like L-theanine, L-tyrosine. I mean, if you just go to the health food store, you can get like Adrena Chill, Adrena Relax, whatever they're called, and they'll just have a bunch of things mixed in. Other things that are found to be helpful in terms of just like hormones has been ashwagandha, is very, very beneficial as well. Anyway, so this is like thyroid is sort of like top tier in terms of acne. Now, in terms of topical things that are very, very basic, he says avoid the over application of creams. So me, I've got like 30 things from The Ordinary. Every time I go to the drugstore, I'm like, oh, something like new and shiny. I have to try it. I haven't tried. Oh, like, I've got like prescription grade retinol. I've got everything you can imagine. I've tried it all. And he says, don't go crazy, find the 2-3 things that work for you and stick to that. Consistency, your skin will reward you. So that's actually phenomenal, because I find so many things to do with skin are like psychological. So when I would do cleanses, when your like awareness opens up, when you're meditating in the mornings after not eating, I felt the insight came to me that I was so fixated on fixing a problem. I have like a strong, assertive, masculine energy as a woman, that if I didn't have something to fix, I inherently felt unproductive. So it's like sometimes if things were peaceful and calm, my body would compensate by making something go crazy. So I would go, okay, a new thing to try, a new thing to buy, a new approach. And it's like none of those things are necessary. Just kind of like relax and be in the flow. Speaking of being in the flow, exercise once a week. He writes, and after you bathe, apply pure peanut oil onto the body and face, but only once a week, okay? So what is the cause? Caused by thinning of the intestinal walls, as we just mentioned, which allows the matter to enter to the bloodstream and become polluted, as it serves both the intestinal walls and the skin, okay? It doesn't mention if emotions cause bad skin or if it's hereditary. Now, me being me, I don't care much for things that are said to be inherited, because it's not very empowering and I just refuse to believe it. And I've read a book on epigenetics in like my early mid-20s. So I was like, and then I kicked it up a notch. If you're interested, if you have problems with fertility, your period, your skin, your hormones, spotting, ovulation, any of that, please, I cannot recommend highly enough Dr. Elisa Vitti's The Woman Code. She basically is a woman. She's a physician, and she had, weight gain was out of control. Her periods were crazy, or she wasn't getting them. She had bad acne, and every doctor she went to just said, it's your genetics. Like, you're Italian, you ate a lot of carbs growing up. That's just like what your family is like. Genetically, you're just predisposed to these things. And so when she was like in med school, she was also apprenticing and learning from a traditional Chinese healer and starting to apply these things. And so she tapped into this like profound knowledge, which she blended, modern techniques with ancient ones. So she has this thing called Living in the Flow. So I really encourage this book. And in the first part, she addresses the importance of environmental pollutants. So the first thing I did like about 10 years ago was get rid of artificial things. So like lotions, shampoos, everything I used was natural, like deodorant, everything, laundry detergent, everything. And then that I kind of broke out of that spell. But basically you live in the flow, because all those things are like endocrine disruptors, even like candles that aren't natural and so forth, hair products and so forth. But every week of the month, your body will respond differently to different things. So you live according to what your body needs. Like 1 week it will be really active, and then the week before your period you're going to feel like nesting and it will be really slow. So you need to be gentle with your body and feed it, liver supporting foods. And according to Dr. Andreas Moritz, I've done 13 of his liver flushes consecutively. He says when a woman is on her period, her liver has a completely different set of functions than when it's not. So you have to support your body. Okay, so that book is like really, really mind-opening. So if your skin is especially, troubling to you and it's really affecting you emotionally, you can do something about it. Okay, it does take work. I'm not going to lie to you, but there's something out there. Okay. Dietary change is a constant recommendation in these books, both of them, and in the readings, okay? So diet seems to be a heavy factor in the causation of acne. Heavy factor. So I remember doctors telling me food doesn't cause bad skin, it's your genetics, it's it's not environmental pollutants, or maybe you're just really sensitive, so it is environmental pollutants. But according to the channelings, yes, food is a heavy factor. So, I mean, if someone's told you that it isn't according to these readings, they would disagree. So here are the dietary recommendations. Number 1, no chocolate. It's Valentine's Day soon. Come on, it's February 1st. I've got my heart sweater out, I've got the red lippy on, I've got all my Valentine's paraphernalia ready to burst out of the shelf. So, okay, no chocolate, sugars, ice cream, pastries, pie, or candy. So all these things are stimulating, all these things are, you know, sugars, and here, limit starches, 1 per meal. No white bread. It's written like that, period, no white bread. Okay, so simple carbs are not a friend to you, and limit them 1 per meal. Okay, so as like a side rather than a main. Number 2, no carbonated drinks, including diet drinks, no beer or ale. So anything carbonated is generally not recommended, which I find quite funny because, like, in you know, when I was growing up, my parents just generally said once in a while, of course, you can like have soda, you go to birthday parties, whatever, but we never had it in the house. Like, we just never bought it. Like, we would have it for our birthdays or for New Year's Eve or something, but I just grew up not drinking it. And I don't know how this like cultural wisdom or whatever I hear from other people's families. They're like, oh yeah, our parents just always said it was bad for you. I don't know where people got that. I kind of want to know, but according to Edgar Cayce, no fizzy drinks. Number 3, no pork or ham, though crispy bacon is allowed. So if it's cooked to a crisp, it's fine, but no pork or ham products, okay? 5, no fried foods includes, I swear it says Fritos or potato chips. This broke my heart because I'm a potato obsessive, so French fries are just like a big deal, but okay. No fried foods, no Fritos, potato chips. Number 6, lots of vegetables. Cooked or raw, and salads are encouraged. 7, fruits are fine when they are in season, except raw apple, strawberry, and banana. And I've put, oh, the irony, because like I love them so much and I eat them every day. Number 8, milk, eggs, and cheese are allowed. Now, I've put here in brackets, I believe modern logic will disagree because we find dairy products to be inflammatory, and like I'm lactose intolerant, so I mean, my mom always told me that's not a thing. She always used to say there's no such thing, there's no such thing. So I think some part of my brain is tricked into that I can consume dairy to an extent without feeling like sick, but I certainly can't have a lot of it. And so what's really interesting is that here it says milk, brackets skim. So anything like 2%, 3%, you know, and then obviously creams, table cream, coffee cream, whipping cream, cooking cream is just a full-on no. So I suppose with modern logic that would agree, but I don't know many people that actually drink skim milk. I know most people don't even think it's really milk. They think it's just like water. But I mean, these days you have so many alternatives with like almond milk, pardon me, oat milk, which I'm sadly unable to drink, and it breaks my heart because it's my favorite. But okay, that's the dietary recommendations. The author of one of them has said castor oil. He said apply topically into the skin. Now, I know castor oil is a drying oil, so he says rubbing into skin, even if not following the diet, can aid in the improvement of the skin condition. Okay, so how about then you can alternate in the evenings, like every other night, dab a little bit of castor oil to see if it will help clear up the skin. So hopefully that should be helpful. Even if you don't adhere to the diet, you will see some benefit. So here's my 2 cents. On the bottom, I've said, additionally, this is just Monika. Like, this is what I have done and found to be a thing. I'm going to start here with liver. Liver is a big deal. I've mentioned the liver cleanses. Liver cleanses by Dr. Andreas Moritz are really not for the faint of heart, and I think you should go to get like a proper checkup before you do them. I'm not endorsing anything. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not liable if anything happens. Okay, read the book, Amazing Liver and Gallbladder Flush. Read the book, figure out what works for you. But for me, I have found liver cleansing to be really important because I've developed allergies in my mid-20s that I didn't have previously, including a very strange one, which is that I love earrings. I don't care if they're $1, I don't care if they're $100. I'm obsessed with earrings since I can remember. And in my mid-20s, I suddenly got a really horrible like nickel allergy. So if I just put in some of the earrings that I've owned for even like a second, it would just cause a burning sensation and I would break out into a horrible rash. I would get a headache. So according to Jonas Morris, this is like a buildup of metals in the body. So I've always been on and off with eating meat, and he says eating meat is the #1 way to get like metals into your system. So I thought, okay, if I clean out my filter, because if you think about like, if you change your car filter or the filter in your home heater, like once every 6 months, you're appalled by what you find. But your body, you never switch out your liver. Like it regenerates, but how do you clean it? You need to eat liver supporting foods like garlic and beetroot. Okay, a milk thistle is a supplement that helps the liver a lot. Apple cider vinegar. Okay, so in any case, I thought, okay, I'm going to do that and see what happens. Honestly, not a whole lot. I did 1 flush a month for 13 months. So I did it for 13 months straight. It's really intensive. I don't even know how I did it. I don't know what came over me, but I didn't get rid of it. However, a few years later, something kind of like kicked in and my allergies subsided, and like spontaneously, I don't know what happened, but like shortly afterwards, basically, I could now wear anything. I'm wearing earrings now. I don't have the same sensitivities I used to have, and I don't get sick as often as I used to. Bit of a backstory, I worked in a hospital for a long time. I've caught like everything known to man. So, but yeah, just like I don't get colds and things as frequently as I used to. So it's clearly done something, but I just think it's such an extreme measure that it shouldn't be the first thing you do. Okay. So the reason I mentioned kidney, liver, intestines is causes. So different things can cause acne. So Edgar Cayce mentions it's basically to do with like filtration, elimination. So one, you've got the liver. Skin is a filtration organ. Women have an additional one. Kidneys. So let's say your kidneys aren't filtering properly. Dandelion root. Oh my God, dandelion. Now you can get like a tea. When I started doing these things, the teas were hard to find. You could still find them like at health food stores, but it was so much easier in the summer. I would just get dandelion at the grocery store and like wash it, chop it, juice it, make salads from it, and eat it. Like I would just go straight, and I would find tiny slugs in it, which would gross me out. But I would do that. Now you can get it like tincture form and such. Okay, you can get super easily. Okay, another thing is like minerals. So if you're mineral poor, it actually can give you breakouts. So in this case, burdock root, you can just get it. I have it in the kitchen. It's similar to like a dark bottle with a dripper, whatever it's called. Okay, on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning, I take some burdock root and a little bit of water. Okay, intestines, again, elimination. So if you go to the bathroom every day and you're like, why do I still have bad skin? Well, okay, please go to the doctor, check your thyroid. I mean, I've gone to the doctor for my thyroid for like 15 years, and it's a bit frustrating for me because it's like, I've also lived abroad. So usually when I go abroad, they're like, it's not bad enough that we can medicate you because then it'll affect your heart. And then I'll come back, so I'll have some kind of improvement from living abroad. And then by the time I come home, I'm sick again. And then I go to the doctor, like, okay, we'll start medicating you. But then I'm like, okay, but if I'm moving again, then I'll just get better. So I've never taken medication for it. Because I'm just getting so much conflicting advice. So in any case, please just like go get it checked out. Intestines, I've mentioned, castor oil as a laxative, eating fibrous foods, and eating foods that are friendly to your system. So the diet list is very, very good. I generally I don't eat pork. I don't eat ham. I do love fast food occasionally. If you've been at the car lives, you know what's up. But I'm not a fan of a lot of milk. So like cream for cooking occasionally, or my coffee occasionally. In the morning, I only have like a coconut creamer, things like that. But eggs I adore, cheese I adore, so that I could probably work on. The top list, I'm not even going to consider. I mean, I don't eat pie and candy, and pastries I make myself. Ice cream, actually I don't really like ice cream very much. I have to be in the mood. But chocolate you will not pry from my little rat hands. It's never going to happen. So we just have to figure out what to do with that. Okay. So that covers the diet portion. And in general, of course, just drink a lot of water and a lot of herbal teas, without sugar, without honey, without milk, just drink the fluid. And I would add to the diet portion is to bring a sense of presence to your meal times. You have a different relationship with food when you're mentally present on what you eat. And maybe you think it doesn't matter, but it really can change how you feel. So, okay. let's do coconut oil. Coconut oil, and this is a doozy because I know everybody's talking about the Egyptian magic cream. Here's what's left of the label. Okay, I have this and it's amazing for like cuts, and I get a lot of burns when I'm cooking and things like that. However, it does have coconut oil in it. Coconut oil is a comedogenic, which means it's not non-comedogenic, which means it clogs your pores. So if you have really dry skin like eczema, this is a fabulous product you can put on your face. But if you simultaneously are prone to breakouts, I would never use coconut oil on my face. I didn't know this when I was 19, and it was winter, I had really bad eczema, and of course I had bad skin, but I didn't know. So I was slathering coconut oil on my face at night before bed, and I had breakouts so bad I had to go to the dermatologist twice and get antibiotics because it was like horrific. Like it was like I was like in pain just to like study for my exams. So just beware. Coconut oil, you know, fabulous for the hair, fabulous for the scalp, but maybe for the rest of the body, keep it off your face, please. If you suffer with like acne, don't use coconut oil. I don't know why people don't tell you that, but don't do it. Okay, topically, the best thing I have found, and it will run you like $10 Canadian, okay? Jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is a very waxy oil. So if the type of acne that you have is like white pustules, like sebum, jojoba oil is a miracle worker. Okay, 2 drops in the morning, 2 drops at night after your moisturizer, toner, whatever you put. Okay, and it's so waxy. What it does is it tricks your skin, it tricks your body into thinking it's already got sebum. It's like reached its quota. So it just underproduces sebum. I have tried, I can't tell you, I've tried neem oil. You can also apply NEEM. You can apply, I'll just type it in. You can apply to the face, of course, and I've also seen it recommended applying into the navel. So putting it in your belly button before bed. I've done that. I've done tamanu oil is also really well known for acne, but tamanu oil is a little bit messier. It has a much more of a consistency and an odor to it, but I haven't found them to be as effective as jojoba. Okay, jojoba is spelled here, Jojoba. So jojoba oil, phenomenal. Like I don't want to go anywhere without it. I just use a simple, like scent-free, but I have very sensitive skin. Okay, I do have eczema as an adult, predominantly in my face, so and my eyelids. So I'll use like a simple moisturizer. Of course, I use a toner. I use a very gentle toner, and then what I'll do is I'll add a few drops into the bottle of like tea tree oil. I have seen people straight apply tea tree oil to their face. I do not recommend that, would burn like sin. So, you know, mix it in with the toner, okay? Apply to face, then a gentle moisturizer, and then I'll go in with jojoba oil. So the fewer things you use, the better. In terms of face washes, I find this so funny. My very good friend of mine had like crater acne, and they went vegetarian just for no reason. They were like, I'm just gonna try being vegetarian. I don't know, just try it. Within 8 months, their skin cleared up, but simultaneously they kind of like were in between jobs. So she's like, I've just been washing, and I'm not kidding when I say her pores disappeared. Like it was like a miracle, okay? I'm not saying it's gonna happen for you, but I feel like I have to preface everything 50 times because I get so many angry messages. But she's like, I've just been washing my face with a bar of Dove soap. And I was like, quit messing. It was like 10 years ago. I didn't believe her. And I had a friend simultaneously who's in her 40s that has amazing skin. Like she looks 27. I said, what's just, and she's a heavy, heavy smoker. Not like me, like heavy smoker. I was like, what do you do? And she's like, I really like lather, like soap lather. I said, so do you get like one of those cleansing pump things? It's like a foam. And I'm thinking it's like 30% paint thinner because her skin is so clear. And she's like, no, just Dove. And I said, what? She goes, no, I wash my face with a bar of soap, only Dove soap. And I actually didn't believe her. I didn't believe either of them for about 6 years, okay? And then I was traveling, and I don't like taking lots of things with me, so I thought, what's multi-purpose? I got a bar, excuse me, I got a bar of Dove soap, and it's worked wonders. So that, a face wash with salicylic acid, toner with salicylic acid, or moisturizer with salicylic acid, but I only use one. I don't go crazy on all of them, though I have found the, oh, I don't know if I have it, the little dripper thing from The Ordinary, salicylic acid, pretty effective at clearing up like blackheads on the nose and things like that. And then your moisturizer, and then jojoba oil, very, very cool. So the other thing too, I'm kind of scared to mention, is African black soap. But this is the thing. My mom said, you know, everyone I've ever known that's used it has had beautiful skin. So like 15 years ago, I went to the health food store, and 15 years ago, it didn't cost what it costs now. So when I say I paid like $8 to $10 for a bar of soap, it was like a mind-blowing price at the time, right? But it worked really well. But you have to get a natural, unscented one. I've tried so many brands that claim to be really good, and there's one that was endorsed by like a TikToker recently, and I thought, I know, if I know anything, I know a good variety of black soap if I use it, because my skin is so sensitive that anything with the slightest bit of perfume, the minute I put it on, it'll just start to go red. So I went and I got it. No, it's garbage. It literally does nothing. It doesn't do anything. So please go to your local health food store and ask somebody. See, I don't care what it costs. I don't care if it's 10 bucks, 15 bucks for a bar of this soap, but give me like the best brand that you have. So I used to wash my face with that in most of my 20s. I didn't really get bad acne till I was in my mid 20s. So before then I was using black soap. So that's what I would say to wash it with. Otherwise, I just tried to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, and then finally, in terms of supplements, here I've put, I know everyone's pretty much heard of by now, like evening primrose oil, and I've taken it so much and it's done nothing for me. And I was like dismayed. I was like, why do I keep seeing it everywhere? Everyone's saying like women should take it, but it doesn't do anything. So there's this thing called GLA. And basically, it is in primrose oil, but this thing called borage oil has twice the amount. So it's like a power moisturizer. So it's very good if you live in like a northern climate like me, where it's exceedingly cold in the winter and really dry when you're indoors, to the point that where like it affects your scalp, it makes your skin itchy, it can give you breakouts, whatever. Borage oil is your best bet, okay? And the dosage can be quite high. So the one I'm taking now is 4 capsules with a meal per day, and I try not to mix it with my other slew of capsules. So borage oil, very, very beneficial for acne and eczema. So if you're like me, you have acne and eczema, then borage oil should be good. Again, I'm not endorsing any of these things. These people don't know me. I don't know them. No one's paying me to say this. This comes from my own money, but it's by Smart Solutions, and it's supposed to be can you see that? Okay, it's supposed to be a really solid brand. So you see it's a 1,000 milligrams. It says reduces redness and skin inflammation, improves eczema, acne, and dryness. High source of essential fatty acids. Now, fatty acids we know are found in fish. Very, very good for skin. If you're vegetarian, if you're vegan, I will personally tell you my favorite source is going to be flaxseed oil. I love flaxseed. I make banana bread with tons of ground flaxseed in it. If I eat some like natural yogurt, I put like flax seeds in that. So you can get flaxseed oil, flaxseed capsules. So I really hope that you found this helpful. These are things that have really, really helped me, you know, supporting the liver, I eat lots of garlic anyways. I eat beetroot seasonally. I eat it lots in the autumn. So I eat liver supporting foods because I know for me, my liver is where it's at. Okay, so my thyroid is where it's at for me personally, where it comes to skin and things like that. So it doesn't hurt to try it out, you know, say, okay, I'll first try tackling the intestines, then I'll move on to liver. And if that doesn't work, then it's got to be kidneys. And so of course, drinking lots of water. He also mentions things that can like overstimulate you, of course, is caffeine. So regulate coffee intake, okay, maybe 1 in the morning, just the 1. And I prefer, from other things that I've read and that I've done, ironically, I kind of did it backwards. Usually people get into Vedic astrology, then learn about health. I was doing the health stuff first as an astrologer. I don't know why, but everything in my life works backwards anyways. But it's just recommended women generally don't drink coffee. But if you really can't help it, mix like decaf and regular, until you can just wean yourself off and just drink decaf. Because I know for me, like ritual is so important. So I tend to have like a decaf coffee in the morning. I'm really used to it now. But yeah, decaf green tea. Caffeine is just generally unfriendly to feminine energy and to the female form. So something to consider. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you found this helpful. This has been a very in-depth presentation because the question was so popular. And, you know, tomorrow I'm going to address hair loss, which we have up here, hair loss, balding, and graying. We'll get into other really popular requests have been just general women things like pelvic floor, urinary retention, UTIs, what's it called? Bacterial vaginosis, period pains, and then also we've had hemorrhoids. Also for exercises, he says walking is really good for acne, and then pelvic floor exercises. So he recommends across the board that like every woman through the course of her life just be really limber in terms of like squatting. So just being able to like squat with kind of like your knees to either side of your head, you kind of put your hands on top of them and let your bum like hover above the ground. That like sort of a hip opening exercises are quite beneficial. Of course, like yoga goes without saying, Kundalini yoga goes without saying, all kinds of yoga goes without saying. So anything to open up the hip area will just generally be very, very good for women's health. Okay, so we'll get into that. I've got kidney stones lined up, UTIs, and then I'll do a whole long presentation on hypothyroidism because even the channelings explain to you it's going to affect skin. It's going to affect consistency. If my cat's meowing, so he's got something to say. It's gonna be a popular topic. Minky has said so. Okay, it affects skin, it affects the regularity of your periods and your flow, and it can affect fertility, and of course, weight gain. Weight gain is a big topic. So if you've got any more, don't be shy. If you want to keep it private, of course I won't say anything. If you don't want to leave a comment on the TikTok videos where I discuss these things, that's fine. Just DM me on, he's crying now, sorry. DM me on Instagram or email me at gurugritinfo@gmail.com and just say, of course, I'm not going to like mention anyone's name, but just say, you know, this is a thing I'm really curious about. I'm really curious about what does Edgar say about this? What does Edgar say about that? And for those of you who don't know, the reason I'm doing the book series is that even if you could find them, sometimes the books are not affordable, but generally the books are hard to find. There's some Edgar Cayce books I'm dying to get my hands on, especially there's 2 on astrology. I can't find them for the life of me, and it's heartbreaking. So I figured, hey, you know, I've got 2 on health, I've got 2 on reincarnation, I've got one in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Might as well share the wealth. So thank you so much for keeping your questions coming in. Today is the Chinese Lunar New Year, so happy Chinese Lunar New Year to you. Happy new moon. It's the new moon in Aquarius and it's the first of the month. So I wish everybody a beautiful Valentine's Day. I'm running classes at the minute for love astrology, so feel free to email me if you want to register. And you know, until next time, I love you all so much and I wish you all the best. Bye bye for now.